Let's begin.
Here we go! Hi, everybody!
Start the insanity.
You are not worried, are you?
Me? No.
Well, we're waiting.
Hello, welcome to Super Media All-Stars. We are a weekly podcast, and tonight we are talking about movies. I am your host, John Harris, and tonight I'm joined by three other All-Stars. The first one being Jake Boston.
Shh. Be very, very quiet.
Anthony Borich.
Cheese nips are not the same as cheese-its. I have a list if you're not going to follow it.
And
Important lesson.
and Brent Harris.
I want to hear you breathe. Yeah, that's real nice.
If you can't tell, we got a great episode for tonight. We'll be talking about A Quiet Place. We just saw this in theaters this week. It is opening weekend for this movie, so stay tuned for all our thoughts on that. But first, guys, it's been about a week. We are having some scheduled movies that we have to watch, but anything else outside of the agenda we have placed?
Yeah, I've got some stuff. Rewatched Toy Story #1.
I saw your Letterboxd review. It was
Yeah,
really good.
That movie's a 5-star. It's perfect. It's amazing.
Perfect?
And even with like the Blu-ray re-release, it
Yeah.
still like holds up visually.
Sure.
Toy Story 1?
Yeah. The dog is very janky. And the humans are kind of janky. But
Scud.
yeah, Scud the dog. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
good.
that story is, it's just amazing.
Classic Randy Newman.
Go sailing no more.
You got a friend in me.
It's very classic. Let's see. The other movie I watched was Masterminds. Does anybody remember what that is?
Nope.
It has Zach Galifianakis and Kristen Wiig
now
and
I do.
Owen Wilson.
Yep, now it's
'Cause,
coming back.
I don't know if you know this, but everybody around these parts calls me the Heist Hound. And this has a little bank heist in it, a little bit. So
Kind of.
very little, like 5 minutes. I thought it was going to be way more when I started watching, and nope. It's a very small, minute. So you've seen it, Anthony?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It's a turd sandwich.
The first half hour I liked a lot. I laughed at the dumbest
Okay,
jokes.
yeah, there's a lot of dumb humor in it, but it is so stupid. It was so hard to stay with it until the end.
It's directed by the guy who did Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every other movie that he's made since then has been awful. Like Nacho Libre is awful.
Yeah.
Gentleman Broncos is awful. So I didn't think this one was going to be good. It's very stupid humor. Like there's a poop joke in the pool.
Of course there is.
Very good. Very funny. But then yeah, there's another hour after that half hour, and then it starts to drag a little bit.
Yeah.
Still better than I thought it was going to be, so I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I had the chance to check out Star Trek Discovery. Felt like the Star Trek reboot, which J.J. Abrams reboots.
How many episodes are you in?
I'm only like 2 episodes in.
Okay.
But you know how I am. I'm very apprehensive about starting anything because I hate getting pulled into a show then having to commit to watch the rest of it.
Why do you hate that?
I just don't like the idea of being sucked in. I know that's
That's what TV's all about.
I know, but I don't like that idea.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like. I hate having to finish something. Like,
Oh my god, is this why you won't watch Breaking Bad?
pretty much, 'cause that means I have to watch the whole thing, and that sounds terrible to me.
But I'll spend 400 hours in Witcher.
Witcher? Yes, I will.
That'll suck me in.
That's more of an interactive experience. Anyway, Star Trek Discovery, very good. Like it's almost comparable for graphics, as far as J.J. Abrams goes. I mean, it's a 2009 film, I think. So Star Trek Discovery, for being a paid app or show, really good. I was warned that it takes a little bit of getting into. In the acting, like any other show, the very first episode's a little dry. But once they get a little more experience behind, more episodes go in. Like even for episode 2, where I left off, drastically better than episode 1.
Gotcha.
I'm excited to see where that goes. I just haven't had the time to sit down and keep going through it. But I'm excited for what I see so far.
I've never been able to get into Star Trek anything.
Yeah, well,
Besides the movies.
I was telling her that Star Trek is that's a very daunting series to even try to comprehend.
Like that and Doctor Who is just like, I'm never going to start any of those because there's hundreds of episodes and I'm not going to do that.
Right, unless you were I don't know, introduced that from a very young age. For me, that just sounds like, I mean, I'm sure it's good once you understand it.
It sounds like homework. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want, like, what if I'm like 2 seasons in and I hate it and then I start it, so I'm trying to get into like all the Trekkie culture and then I stop and then they're like, oh, what the fuck, you don't like it?
Well, there's other shows out there where you've had experiences that like Game of Thrones you tried.
I got 1.5 seasons into Game of Thrones. The second season was so dull and boring and just nothing happened. I'm just like, I'm done. I don't even care. And you guys gave me shit about it.
Yeah, that's what happens. So like that, your experience right there is what I'm afraid of. Making that time to end up not liking it.
Don't be afraid, John. Just dip your toes in, see what happens.
No, big toe dipper.
Oh, jeez.
What about you guys? Anything new on your fronts?
Like, I did rent Father Figures.
Oh.
Yeah. It
That's-
was actually...
Nope.
it had
Nope.
some cheap laughs, but no. It was like...
That was the Ed Helms one?
Ed Helms and...
Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, he was pretty bad in the movie.
Was J.K. Simmons good?
Yeah, he actually played a creepy, like, friends that we know that have turned into this in the future.
Yeah. He's the only
Way.
part that I want to see in that
Yeah.
movie. I do not want to see any part
It's
of
fun.
that.
He's still beefed up.
Do you want to see this movie?
No, Glenn Close was a big whore, I guess.
So listeners, spoiler alert, just because I need to get this out of the way. What happens?
Who's the father, Anthony?
None of them.
Oh.
So she was, but that she ended up working with girls who had been raped, and their mom was raped and came to them and died giving birth to those
Oh,
twins. And so
Jesus.
she just became their mom.
That got super serious super quick.
Yep.
So the whole plot of the movie has nothing to do with the conclusion.
No.
Why wouldn't she just tell them that in the first place?
And well, it ruined her marriage, or what was going to be her marriage
To who?
Christopher Walken.
Oh.
Yeah, who turns out they thought was going to be the dad.
Yeah.
But nope, he admitted to everything, and then she came in and explained the story, and it was like, oh,
So
Okay.
it's mostly about comedy hijinks and up until the end where it got super serious.
yep,
So what
Yeah.
would you rate it?
2.5. It's watchable.
Is it?
Wow. That's way better than I thought it was going to be.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Brent,
It's
anything
fine.
on you?
I rewatched Baby Driver for the second time.
That's good.
That's something.
Yeah, it was equally as good as the second time.
That's good.
It was nice having 6 months without seeing it,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of it was besides knowing the story. It felt like I was watching it again for the first time, and I was reappreciating the things I appreciated the first time watching it. So
Yeah. That's how I felt when I rewatched it for our movie of the year thing last year.
Yeah.
So.
Let's jump into our next portion of the show. We all saw A Quiet Place. This is probably our first scary movie of 2018 that we saw. In
Yeah,
theaters?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's hard to call this a scary movie.
That's true, yeah. So we all broke this up into... We all saw it at different times. Me and Brent just walked away from it like an hour ago. So
Yeah,
a lot
you're
of us,
fresh.
A lot of us is fresh, so we're trying to let it seep in just a little bit.
Anthony and I saw it opening day Thursday.
And how was you guys' movie going experience?
It was good. The theater was packed.
Yeah?
I have Movie Pass. We also saw it with friend of the show, Kevin.
Yep.
And he has a Movie Pass too, so we waited until we got there thinking that it wasn't going to be busy.
Yeah.
Super busy. We ended up getting second row,
Oh, wow. From the
which
front.
is never good. Yeah. Like we had first row for The Shape of Water, but that movie theater was kind of small.
Yeah.
This one was huge.
Right.
So second row in a huge movie theater kind of sucks, but once you sit down there for 10 minutes, you get used to it.
Sure.
The theater was weird because this movie, it's a quiet place. So, of course, everything is fucking quiet.
Yeah.
And if you have any concessions whatsoever, don't eat them because it makes noise. And the people right in front of us in the front row snuck in like when the movie started.
Yeah.
And they also snuck in food.
Yeah.
And the food was really fucking loud. I just wanted to fucking beat them in the head.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kill them. It was so stupid. And I just looked at Kevin every time, and Kevin was looking at me like, what are these fuckers doing? Like, we were whispering to each other, and they were just like crunching and munching when everything was quiet. I was so pissed. But it only lasted like for the first half hour.
Yeah, we'll get into the sound about this movie in a little bit. Me and Brent saw it, like I said, like an hour ago, and we had a moderate showing. But you guys saw it 24 hours ago. Mm-hmm. How's the movie? What's some general thoughts and how you feeling about it right now?
You know, it's sinking a little bit. I feel like I need to see it again. However, not in theaters.
Okay.
I was talking to someone and feel like I would enjoy this movie had it been a Netflix movie a lot better than seeing it in theaters. I felt like I did not need the ambiance of a theater to enjoy this movie. I think I could have easily done it, if not more so, on my couch in a dark room at night.
Interesting.
I will second Anthony, because when not only were the people obnoxious, the guy next to me was trying to be quiet, but he was a loud breather. So that
was
really
Kevin. That was
made me
Kevin.
upset. Not Kevin. Another guy next to me. And then also there was bleed through from the theater right next to us. I think Ready Player One was playing,
Oh yeah.
and you could hear everything that was happening when the theater was quiet.
Really?
So I think this movie would be better watched at home. I know we talked about last week.
Yeah.
What experience would you prefer? And this one, I think, would be better at home. Saying that, I liked this movie. I was really high on this movie until like the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
And the last 20 minutes I'll talk about later. But yeah, let's just say it didn't work too well for me.
Is this the first movie he's directed?
Second.
Oh, the
I can't remember the first one.
Hollanders or Hollers?
Yeah,
or...
that one.
Okay.
What is that? I've never even heard of it.
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I looked it up earlier. Now I kind of remember it now.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later, but I liked
I
what
think he
did.
did a couple episodes of The Office too, but
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
anyway.
Brent, how you feeling about it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest anyone to go see it.
In theaters?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, how was your theater going experience? We haven't talked about that yet.
Well, it's part of the movie that this movie is very quiet the first half hour.
Yeah.
And
Not just the first half hour.
yeah, most of this movie, but it
Kind of.
It
A
gets
lot
louder.
of
It
it.
gets louder in the second half. Whether your experience is, your experience in the theater could be a distraction, like these guys pointed out, because the movie is very quiet and you hear everything in the theater, munching and crunching,
Yeah.
sipping and coughing, all that stuff.
I brought some Bunch of Crunch with me.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of crunch, and it was really quiet, so I had to do like no crunch for a lot of this.
I had popcorn, and like when it was really quiet, I just stopped eating it. And then once it like something happened or music started playing or something, like then I'd start eating it again, and then
Yeah.
I'd stop again and start eating it again.
Yep.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. This movie is one of the best movies I've seen in 2018 so far.
That's not saying much.
That's-
But
It's
Yeah,
not.
it's the same.
It's not, but
But we're in April. There's a lot of good things liked about this movie, and there's some things that kind of bothered me, but not enough to say this is a bad movie by any means.
Let me say this though: it would have made my top 5 last year.
Really?
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Okay.
just wait, Bug.
Yeah.
I got a lot to nitpick.
All
You're
right.
you're fresh
Wow.
off this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know you're nitpicking.
I
that
need
means-
to think on that for a while.
So that being said, this first portion, after our general thoughts here, will be spoiler free. We're going to go over some other details that you may have gotten from the trailer, some general themes about this movie that you know already. Then we'll go into a spoiler section. We'll go all out. We're going to end it in this entire segment with a review that will also be spoiler free. So jump in the timestamps to see when you're safe to jump back in, or if you're interested in spoilers, stay with us for the whole time. That being said, we kind of had a general discussion before we talked about this, but just for fun, what would you guys classify this movie as?
Monster movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think
Thriller.
thriller, yeah. Excitement, thrill.
Definitely.
This is like a 70s B movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, very much so.
I don't think this was a horror movie.
I don't think so either.
It's a thriller suspense for sure.
It's like a schlock movie that takes itself seriously, which I do like.
Yeah, very much so. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure it was rated PG or 13 or R.
I want to say PG-13.
It's 13.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
I don't think it's a spoiler, but there's some bloody elements.
Yep.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of suspense building, some good segments that are drawn out.
And that's what works best in this movie.
It does, and it works.
Because of how quiet it is and how like tense you are from not making a sound, to when like something happens, you freak out a lot. Like
Yeah.
you have nothing but like just like guttural sounds coming out of you when something happens.
But it's also a movie about sound. And for me, despite how your theater experience is, or maybe your thoughts overall about the film is, it's a great mechanic to work with within a movie.
I mean, the concept is brilliant. Like can we go over like the basis of what this movie is?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so there are these like alien creatures that crash land, and they are attracted by anything that makes noise. So if you make noise, they come and kill you. And the people that survive are the people that thrive in being quiet. And this family, that'll be a little bit spoilerish, but this family has history of being quiet for a reason, which definitely helps them.
This movie is pretty much self-contained around this family, which works very much for this film. It's a very narrow perspective. You don't really get context to these creatures or aliens. It's all about this family's experience, and I think that's what makes this movie so personable / great, because it stays so focused on one thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't go too far with sci-fi or not even really a mystery about it. It's just like, these are the circumstances you have, and this is how it's going to play out.
This movie's a good mix between Signs and The Road. Like, The Road is super bleak, but Signs has a good like family component to them.
Before this, I got a Signs vibe. Mm-hmm. You brought an excellent point of The Last of Us.
The bad guys are pretty much clickers, except they look cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, I got Cloverfield vibes from this.
Oh, I can see that, yeah.
Because it's got an alien, and it's very centered, focused around a family, but creatures. So very narrow focus, but great in how it works. Acting. This is Anthony, you brought up earlier. This is John Krasinski's second directing. He's also the main actor.
Yep.
The father figure in this movie. How'd you guys like that?
There's 6 actors in this movie. I mean, it's probably easy to pay these actors.
Yeah, and the wife in here is his actual wife, so...
Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
For the whole part, the family in this movie is solid.
Yeah,
I really liked the narrow cast, but they all, as far as like a family feel, I think they nailed it. Mm-hmm. Parenting aspect you get from this family, really good, really solid.
I'll get a little bit more into that later, but for the most part, yeah, the family dynamic in here works well, and it's definitely one of the strongest points in this film. Mm-hmm. It's what like holds it together.
There's a lot of emotional repercussions in this movie. Did that work for you guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For not having sound and having that much of an emotional reaction to just visualizing something, that's well done to me.
I would say all of it was pretty pitch perfect until the last 20 minutes, which I'll get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 20 minutes just really, it just sits wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a cinematography standpoint, going back to John Krasinski, compared to like other suspense, mystery, thrillers, however you want to classify this movie.
Well, this is a passion project of Krasinski's because he wrote the story too, or co-wrote it.
Yeah.
So he knew like every angle in this movie, and there are some little touches that happen that we'll talk about later that are brilliant in a movie like this.
Yeah.
His direction, his style that he brings is very much just kind of post-apocalyptic, but it still looks nice. I'd say it doesn't get as grimy as some other post-apocalyptic movies.
Sure.
No, everything's pretty much intact still.
Yeah, but it still has a style on it, all on its own.
I love that it's a farmhouse. I mean, I feel like that works too.
Yeah, because pretty much, like you said,
Out in the middle of nowhere on a farm.
we only had like maybe 2 settings in this film, and
Yep.
that's all it like takes place in this entire movie.
Yeah.
For this movie's only 90 minutes. Never did it feel too long for me.
And there was never really a dull moment for me.
Yeah, I could say that.
And there's a difference between dull and just like there's a lot of quiet, subtle moments on screen.
Which is fine.
Right, but
But it
you're
works.
not like bored with what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is also not spoiler, but there's a lot of great world building that's going on, not explicitly trying to tell you, but you just tell from the context of,
In very small details.
yeah,
Right.
this is the situation that is dealt.
Which I loved.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a huge focus. It was just there for you to observe, like, okay, so that's kind of what's going on here.
Right.
And I really loved it about that.
You kind of had to piece it together because they didn't really actually just throw it at you.
There wasn't like a new character that came in and they had to explain
No.
it to this guy.
Right. I actually prefer that better than how most movies explain what's going on in the world around them.
Is it safe to say we kind of got what we need to say without going to spoilers?
Yeah, I'm ready to dig into this bad boy.
Yeah, because I think this is going to be the meaty portion. Mm-hmm. All right, that being said, let's jump into the spoiler.
He didn't even do a spoiler first.
Oh, sorry.
You were eager, bud.
I was
saw
ready.
it, yeah.
Want me to do that again?
No. I feel like it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, no, you like I said,
I was on the spot last time and it sucked, so...
Did you hear? You sure heard me and Bryn do it last time. That was bad.
It was in stereo. Both of them did it at the same time.
Yeah. Like I said, we're in spoiler section now. One of the things I want to jump off right off the bat is that first 10 minutes of this movie.
5 minutes.
Was it 5 minutes?
It's really fast.
It sets the pace for this movie.
Yeah, it's very ballsy, and I loved it.
Yeah, because even before we get the title of this movie, we get world building, we get the scenario, then we also get like, oh damn, that just happened.
Yeah, you get the title with a death of a child.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that is like from the trailer, which I thought that looked like a climax scene from the trailer, but it's like the first 5 minutes of this film.
Yeah.
How did that initial shock sit with you guys?
It was like you know exactly what's going to happen, kind of in slow-mo, Like you can see all the pieces like start to fall in place, and you know exactly what's going to happen. Like the kid dying was out of nowhere for me, but you know, like leading up to that moment where it's like him making kind of stupid mistakes, and then him grabbing, you know, standing on a unsteady box to get the toy down in the first place.
Right.
And his dad telling him, no, we don't need this toy. It's too much sound. Mm-hmm. And then him getting the toy from his sister.
And then him grabbing the batteries like a dumb
Right.
kid would.
Like, what would you need batteries for?
Yeah.
Besides flashlights.
Well, it's also one of the important scenes about this film is that the daughter is the one who gives him the rocket ship back.
Yeah.
Right.
And that kind of sets her feelings for the rest of this movie.
Yeah. The thing that like that elevates this scene is that you're in the perspective of the young girl who is deaf.
Yeah.
So you're not able to hear anything that's going on. You just see faces. Like you see the dad's face and you see the mom's face look at the dad
Right.
and then look at what's happening, and it's horrible. And then she turns around and sees the lights going off.
Right.
And then you can hear all the noise.
God, it's such a good.
It's really well done.
Because then multiple times throughout the film, they're switching back and forth between people's perspectives. So with everyone else in the film, they can still hear like crickets and the wind and leaves rustling. With her, it's just deafness. It's just nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's so good.
Yeah. And fun fact, this actress is actually deaf.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
But that scene where the dad is running towards his son, and you see the monster coming in the woods.
In the trailers, it makes you think that he's going to grab him, they're going to run the other way.
Yeah.
Nope, he doesn't get to him in time.
He did.
It's horrible. Like the dad tells him not to play with the toy. The sister, being a good sister, is like, "Oh, here you go. Just take the batteries out. Just do this." And then the kid grabs the batteries and he's dead.
Not to like jump way ahead here, but one of the father's last scenes when he has to sacrifice himself, like that felt like, oh damn, I like that part.
That's the part that I had a problem with.
Really?
Because first he sees like this old guy just yelling and then getting killed. And then I don't know if this is a thing for these little alien creatures to just like not do anything and yell, but he had an axe in his hand. Like he could have tried to kill this alien, but he just drops it and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to kill myself. I love you." And it was touching like him signing everything, but he could have at least grabbed the thing back up and tried to kill it so it didn't try to attack his family. I hated that part.
You don't think he was injured enough not to do anything? Like, cause he
wasn't.
He was like pierced
Oh,
by
yeah.
the alien.
Yeah, but you can still try.
Yeah, maybe he thought at that point he couldn't barely move. I don't like. That's a good point. He couldn't. If he was able, we don't know.
Plus, maybe he wanted because he knew that there were more than one. So maybe he thought maybe there's some other that were still messing with his wife. So he was going to try drawing them too.
Yeah, I mean, you can still yell, and once you're yelling and you know the thing is coming right at you, try to swing an axe. I mean, like, if you're... all the adrenaline is going in your body, so I would assume that would help, like, make your wounds, like, not feel as bad as they are.
Sure.
Enough to get one swing off at least. Like, it might not give them a lot of time, but at least you're trying.
I guess when I saw that scene, I thought he was accepting the fact that he was going to die. And he just... And not only that, like the scene prior where his wife told him, "You have to protect our children no matter what."
Yeah, you know what a good way to protect your children is? Try to kill the fucking alien instead of just have him eat you.
But apparently sacrifice for him was the best way to do so. As far as the relationship between the father and daughter was definitely an emotional tug.
That was definitely the most interesting.
I like the father and son, too. Like him, like going out when he doesn't want to, and the dad showing them all the secrets while they're out. Like you can yell when you're by a waterfall, which smartly comes back in when the basement's flooded and the mom and the baby go underneath that water.
Yeah.
Just small touches like that I really do appreciate.
Yeah, that was solid. And just like I know you don't like the scene, but just the last time where the father gets to explain to the daughter, like, "I love you," and you get to see that later when you see all the ear devices that he was working on. Apparently, she didn't know he was working on ear devices.
Because she's not allowed down there for some reason.
And that was a stinger too for her to see, and just like another impactful moment of that film. Mm-hmm. How'd you guys feel about the mom in this? Emily Blunt went through some terrible things in this movie.
She did. However, that brings up my biggest gripe with this movie is why in the fuck would you get pregnant?
Yep. Yeah.
Why bring a baby into this? Because you cannot control them crying or screaming or anything.
Technically, they could have had it not
You're right.
gone
Finish
to hell.
it.
Here's my thought process. Here's my thought process with that. Clearly, the movie makes a point to say that they're grieving from their son dying, and at some point they thought, we want to have another kid because we lost our son.
Yeah, but that's putting your
Stupid.
whole family at risk.
Man,
it's
that is
very
the
selfish.
I know.
Stupidest
It's a
part
mo-
of this.
It's also movies about humans and emotions, and they're obviously still dealing with the death of their son. And when she tells the dad to protect their children, they're thinking about the boy who died.
Well, she even goes on to say that, like, oh, if I would have just dropped the son, I could have looked after my other kid.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I had two
you
free
could've-
arms.
No,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's it.
She didn't
Yeah.
have the son. She was just walking.
Yeah, she had free hands.
Yeah. That's why she was so upset. She could have carried him.
Yeah, the son was walking on his own.
Yeah.
The dad, John Krasinski, had
no, the middle
son.
son.
Oh, the middle son was.
Didn't she have the middle son, or
No,
did
he
John?
did.
John did.
So,
He
yeah.
dropped him.
That's
when-
why she's so upset, because
That's right.
she's like, I could have just carried him.
Yeah,
It never would have been an issue.
that's it.
So back to your pregnant point, like apparently guilt in this emotional death, I think drove them to have another kid to fill that void that they're still suffering.
Plus,
Will that be the smart idea? Probably not.
No, this was
But-
the stupidest
Well,
idea.
But it's a movie.
but at the same time, to counter your point, they had also built a soundproof barrier, like basement.
Yeah, which why don't they make that earlier? Like when you're playing Monopoly with a whole bunch of cloth pieces, and then you knock over a little lantern that just breaks and crashes, and you have to make noise to like clean all that stuff up. If you're in a world where you can die by making noise, why not make that soundproof room and just live in there at night, or even live in there like all the time?
That's pretty detailed nitpick there, bud.
No, it's smart. Like
How
if-
high up can these things get? Like, wouldn't you try to get to the highest ground?
well, no, it crawled up that silo,
Yeah, and it
That's
tore it
true.
open.
so it can go high.
Yeah.
Because it can just pierce through it and crawl.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you will die by making noise, make a room where you can make noise.
I feel like it was still a work in progress.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't know it worked yet.
Yeah, I know, because they were making it for the baby. I'm just saying, if you have all this time and there's this one thing that can kill you, try to nip that in the butt.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Kids are prone to mistakes. Like that's the definition of like half the conflict of this movie is.
Yeah, so make mistakes in a soundproof room, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, but I think we get this feeling that they're scavenging still at this point in this movie.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but they're not set up
Plus,
where they
Yeah.
need to be.
The movie starts with like a day 82 or 83 card. Like, I'm assuming since the aliens have crash landed.
Sure.
And then once the kid dies and the titles go up, it goes to 472 right after that, which means what? That's like close to 2 years, a year and a half
Yeah.
passes.
Year and a half.
Yeah. Oh, I also like that when they show the grave site of their kid, it briefly flashes what year he died, just to show like when this movie takes place. It was in the year 2020.
Yeah, and he was born in 2016, and he died in 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just world building like that, which I appreciate.
okay, but let me ask you one thing about the world building.
Mm-hmm.
Did it bother you that you didn't really know like how the aliens got here or what's causing this, anything like that, really?
No, because I can imagine some people still might not know that. I mean, they
Okay.
had newspaper clippings, but
Yeah.
that's about
You know,
it.
that
Yeah.
doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, me either. I was just curious.
Because I'm nitpicking everything else.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just immediately, because sometimes that does bother me. I want to know, like, okay, how did they get here? Why are they doing this? Where'd they come from? Out of the ground or whatever?
Yeah.
But this just instantly pulled me in, and I didn't really care how they got here. I was
Gotcha.
just suckered in.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of those aliens, I really liked the way they were designed. They looked fucking scary.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of like the,
Clickers from Last of Us.
well, there's so many iterations of it, but like
Like the teeth are definitely venom.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a hybrid of that and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
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 Demogorgon.
It has like those openings, but
Yeah.
they're all ears. He has like 12 ears on his head. That part was really cool.
I don't think he has 12 ears. I think he just like his face opens up.
Yeah, and you can hear sound
and then
waves.
and
Yeah.
then he like it's all like a big sonar
yeah,
thing.
you can hear like all the vibrations
Yeah.
that are going around.
yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool concept for like a creature based on sound.
I did like that.
And I
It's
yeah.
did like
so
the-
cool when they like zoomed in on its like hearing aspect or whatever it's in
And
its
it
head.
like, changed how it looked compared to what it was hearing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Some of the best scenes in this movie are about suspense and what we're hearing. And I think, like I said, we talked about this earlier, but great mechanic. But some of my favorite scenes where we hear something in the distance that you can tell a creature's coming, or the fire, like the fireworks, like a great, like I like how they
Yeah.
played with sound to distract.
Again,
from
but going back to the waterfall thing.
Yeah, what's
really cool.
louder.
Or to make yourself even quieter, when Krasinski's character is like looking around, he makes sure to pour sand, just so when you run, it doesn't make loud footsteps.
Right, or just normal walking.
It's really cool. I would have never thought of that. So it's just those touches that I really appreciate in this. One thing that like I'm pretty sure they had a time jump in this because I think everybody would be dead in the wintertime. Walking anywhere in snow makes much noise.
This could be Northern California.
It's on a farm and they're growing corn.
Was it corn?
That's what was in the silo. That's what they were drowning in.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. They never say where it is, but
Yeah, it's actually. I know it's weird you say that. Bring that up because I was actually thinking, like, okay, so what if you just move north? But then again, like, snow is so loud.
yeah.
Plus,
And we don't know how many of these things are out there. We just
Right.
know close to them, thanks to his little dry erase board, there's 3.
yeah. Well, there's more than that.
Yeah.
It says around them 3.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but like at the end,
at the
you
end.
find out there's more than 3.
I could have swore on the camera only like 3 more come after him.
That's all I
Which
saw.
would make 4 because there's the
Oh,
one dead in the basement.
Okay, but it's not a lot more.
No,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
one extra.
yeah.
Did we like how that came together at the end, where she kind of the daughter puts 2 and 2 together, where like, oh, the alien or the creature freaked out when my frequency thing went off.
Okay, I did like that, but I didn't like how she put 2 and 2 together by the dry erase board saying, "What are its weaknesses?"
Yeah.
I hated that because she's like, "Oh, what is it? Oh, it's my ear thing." I just didn't like I liked the idea. I just didn't like the way it was put onto screen, I guess.
The details went too quickly, like how she could put 2 together too
No,
quick.
she could have just thought of it on her own. She didn't need like her dad on the dry erase board saying like weaknesses and her thinking about that after seeing it on the dry erase board. Like, oh yeah, it must be this earpiece I have in my head.
I wasn't
It was just very ham-fisted.
Yeah, I wasn't really bothered by it though because
It bothered
she was
me.
in dire fear for her life, and sometimes maybe that's what it takes to click it.
Yeah, it happened to her like 4 separate times. So
yeah,
she,
but that she she doesn't know exactly what.
No,
she
I
just
know.
knows that her head thing was.
Well,
her
one
ear
time
hearing.
she didn't even know the alien was behind her. Like,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that
that was one of
was
the-
so amazing.
it's really good, and that's what I'm saying. Like the sound in this definitely like ratchets up the scare factor of this movie to a 10.
Oh yeah.
Because like when everything is quiet, when you're from her perspective and she doesn't know things are right by her, it's so freaky.
Which is so weird because as a kid, when I was watching scary movies, I would turn off the sound or mute it because that would take some of the scariness out of it.
Yeah.
But this, it was the reverse. It was crazy.
Yeah, there were a couple of cheap jump scares in this too.
That's what
yeah.
that's what I want to ask you though. Is it really a cheap if the basis of the movie is sound? A lot of jump scares come from sound.
There were probably like 10 jump scares in this movie. I would say like only 3 of them were cheap, just like cliche horror movie stuff. And I feel like that's because the movie or the company that produced this movie, Platinum Dunes,
Yeah.
its main producer is Michael Bay,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
company has made like the movie. I think the movie series that it's most known for is The Purge.
Yep.
But it's
Yeah.
also made like a whole bunch of like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and all that shit.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just the company trying to throw in some more scares because they're like, oh, this movie isn't scary enough. Just throw in 30%
Yeah.
more scares.
Although I don't think it needed, so because like
It
something-
didn't.
And when they not so much they didn't need it, but like when they add sound effects to amplify the scariness
I
of
hate
it.
that. That's so cheap.
Because this film didn't need that.
No,
Like,
But did it
just
do
see-
it?
It did do it.
Did it add
a couple times.
did it add noises outside of the actual context of the movie?
Yeah, like it just like when something were to happen to get the guy's attention, it would just go like it would make
Yeah.
like a dumb weird noise to make the jump factor even worse.
Okay.
And those are cheap. Every time that happens, I just laugh because I'm like, those are so stupid.
Because for me, nothing like for instance, when we're talking about the scene with it crawling out of the cornfield behind her, and it's just dead silent.
Yeah, that's scary
That's
as fuck.
scary as fuck, and
Because-
there was no sound to it.
Because the whole theater is quiet and nobody is making a fucking sound.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, everybody's got tight buttholes.
Yeah.
They're just like, I don't know what's gonna happen,
Well,
but
we
I
had-
know I'm not gonna like it.
We had a few movie talkers in ours when there's like girls behind us going, "Oh no!"
Oh, see, I would hate that.
And it bothered me, but it really didn't take me out of the film. It was just so damn good.
Some of the best scenes are from the girl's perspective because when her silence, when we experienced from her point, and everything goes silent for sure.
And it's really cool to have like a deaf interpretation on screen, let alone like her be like kind of the hero of this movie.
Well,
yeah.
The person that like finds a solution to
Yeah.
make killing these guys.
Well, I mean, just imagine being in that world where it's bad enough, like every second could be your last.
Yeah.
And then you don't even know.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell if you're making sound.
But like her circumstance would make their life harder, but in actuality, when these aliens crash landed, that's the reason why they were able to survive as long as they did, because they had to learn sign language.
Yeah.
Okay.
just to talk to her. I
Let me-
really liked that.
Let me bring up one part to that.
Uh-oh.
This is the part that I know I had the upset about the pregnancy, but this is the other part that only other gripe I have with this movie is, yep, they were doing sign. However, they were also going, don't. They were talking with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very quietly.
Yeah, but
was
if
more
you're
like-
going to sign, don't talk.
Well, that was more like the mom to the son.
Yeah, who should know sign at this point?
Yeah, that part
Why?
didn't like when it was ever sign language to the sister, the grown up sister. They didn't talk ever. They just always signed.
Yeah,
So that part didn't bother me too much.
The middle son knew sign.
Yeah, but then why did they still say, like, don't go in there?
Okay, it's not. It's not.
No,
it's-
that's exactly how it was, and
you're
it bothered the
exaggerating
shit
it
out
a
of me.
lot.
Ugh. If you're going to sign, only sign. Otherwise, you're still making noise because you're quietly whispering.
You know what? Well, you learn sign language, and then you have a very emotional conversation with somebody.
Fine.
And let's see if you don't talk. Yeah,
Anthony
bullshit.
did bring up something I want to go back to, and I know Anthony had a gripe with it, but what a great plot device that the pregnancy served, where she were faced with a scary monster,
Yeah.
and her having to bear with the pain of childbirth and having to be quiet during it.
Well, that's the only reason why it's in here.
Which is
I feel like because it's a movie where you have to be quiet, but what if you're pregnant?
Right.
That's-
And that's
that's
what my
how I
wife
felt.
brought up. She's like, this is, childbirth's one of the most loud things that a woman encounters in her entire life, not only with pain, but screaming out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the baby screaming. There's no quiet box to put her in while she's pushing out a baby.
Yeah,
Other
like
than the fireworks.
That's why she pushes out the baby after it's been distracted. She would have died from it, but she's quietly like screaming from contractions.
yeah. No, I did like that part in the movie. I'm just saying it's not the cheapest thing this movie does, but it's definitely. I don't think it's earned. Like you shouldn't have a kid in this world.
I see, but the thing is, like, you take these aspects that you have such gripes with, and I don't think this would be as good of a movie.
And
Well,
that-
yeah, if the mom wasn't pregnant, there wouldn't be a lot of scares in
but
this
you're also
movie.
playing
No.
off. But you're kind of playing off a what if scenario. You can't do that too much in movies. Like you can do a lot of what if scenarios, but this is what the movie is.
You had a lot of what ifs for Ready Player One, John.
Not really. I just said I thought would have worked better, but I didn't really go into it.
The pregnancy stuff that was in this movie, I did like.
Yeah,
I will give it that. Like out of all of my gripes that I have, that isn't one of them.
sure.
I'm just saying, if you are to get pregnant, you shouldn't in this world. But yeah, if you are and you do and you love each other and you're trying to fill a hole in your life by filling another hole, then
I mean,
go ahead and do it because it's very scary. And they did have a game plan going in, but then of course game plans change and shit happened. And
Right.
it happened to be on the same night that she was going to start giving birth.
And there's randomly like a rusty nail in the step
Right.
that popped up. Like that was weird.
That was also like a. Oh man, watching that happen was just.
Oh, that was awful.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was like one of the only times
Oh.
in the movie theater where people like audibly
Cringed.
gasped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Even though it was clearly foreshadowed.
Oh, and that fucking sound of her just like her foot getting sucked out
Oh,
from the
yeah,
nail, like
that
squish. Yeah,
Oh God.
it was bad.
Well, that and like okay, her pregnant scene, but we also she has to deal with a scene where she wakes up to her basement flooded, the creature's in the water,
Oh
and
my
her
That
God.
was scary as
Jumps
fuck.
into the water.
Yeah.
and her child's right there with no lid, and
my
it's
God.
it's still sleeping for some reason, which is fine.
Yeah.
Children sleep, but having to pick up the kid and like that poor woman. Like
Yeah.
it's like what
Honestly,
6 hours after having birth.
The scenes with like that are like the most like heart stopping, like just nonstop thriller is the scenes with Emily Blunt in it.
Well, I think that makes for a great pacing of this movie because you have what's going on with the father, you have what's going on with the mother, then you have a third child perspective. Like all those segments that kind of go out through this movie throughout the family's experiences make for a great overall like 90 minutes. To me, it felt like it went by very quickly.
Well, it's 90 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like exactly long enough.
Yeah. And they give you like seconds of breathers. So like something happens and then it's like super tense for, 3 to 5 minutes and then okay. Thank God, a breather. And then it's right back into it.
Yeah, and shit like this would happen. Like a teenage girl would get upset and like go away for a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like when she's mad at her dad and they're waiting somewhere, she'll want to go off on her own.
Or a 10 or 12-year-old kid is absolutely scared out of his mind.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Yeah.
when they're stuck in that corn, that was scary as shit.
yeah.
Like him just drowning in corn kernels.
Well, that and like the scene prior to that too, where like you're mad at the kid for why would you go in the corn? You're gonna make noise, but like kids freak out. Kids
Yeah.
do things
Yeah.
that
If I'm drowning in a quicksand-like container, I'm gonna freak out
Well,
too.
Yeah.
and she was trying to tell him to stop moving.
Yeah.
Which would have stopped him from sinking, but when you're freaking out, I mean, I can't say that I would have freaked out because when like
Okay. Yeah, if you sign something to me and I'm drowning, I'm not gonna see what you're saying.
yeah.
no, I know, but like yeah,
I'm just saying, like, if she could talk, that's one thing.
kind of correlated with that kid for a sec when I was young and swimming. I remember like horsing around and losing my breath underwater and just utterly freaking out,
Yeah.
trying to get air. So
I know we're gonna skip a lot of good scenes I really want to talk about, but I want to talk about that Anthony hit it on already was the ending, where I know you had I think you mentioned a gripe with it. But
No, that was me.
Did you?
The last 2 minutes of this movie completely, like, shit the bed for me.
I want to just throw the argument out there that so they found out the weakness of the monster, right? And it causes like to pass out or like pretty much
It's like its ears blew off. Like, half
Right.
of its head exploded.
right.
not from.
The
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, it's like amplifier things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all of those exploded when she put her earpiece to like a microphone, like megaphone thing, and turned it
Yeah.
up to 11.
Yeah. And the shotgun noise goes off. I just want to feel like in that last minute there, I think the vibe I got was we know how to kill these things. Let's kill them. They're coming for us anyway.
Yeah, but the vibe, it's like from a totally different movie. Like, I didn't like it when all of these other alien things are, you can see from the camera angles that they're rushing to this house. The deaf girl just has like her earpiece in hand and she looks ready to go. And then fucking Emily Blunt just cocking that shotgun. If there's 3 of them coming in one shotgun where you have to fill the shell after every one, all of them are dead. They're all dead. And them having like the heroic, like, okay, let's fuck shit up. I didn't like it all.
That's
Completely different movie.
That's definitely why they cut it off where they did.
It's so stupid though.
You think so?
It's cheap. I don't like it at all.
I don't know. I'm kind of glad that they didn't resolve it and kill these 3 or 4 monsters. I don't want to see that.
Okay, they didn't even have to do that. Like, I get showing that they're prepared for this battle, but I'm a bleak son of a bitch. Like, I like my movies to end like very dark. Like, if they just showed like all of these alien creatures going and that's it. Like, if they didn't show like the gun cocking, if they didn't show the girl ready, we already know that they've already killed one. They don't need to show us again and have like a hoorah moment at the end. Just show all these aliens coming and then like just a shot of them surrounded, kind of like an Avengers thing where they're in a circle and like aliens are coming down those steps, and then cut.
No,
I like that.
I don't even think that far. I think you just show the scene where it shows the TV and it shows 3 of them coming out of the cornfield,
And then cut?
and then 2 dramatic shots of the daughter looking at Emily and the mom looking at the daughter, and then cut.
That would have been better too.
Yeah, that or you get that first shot off, and it comes back up to them running out, and it doesn't even show them again.
Mm-hmm.
I think play devil's advocate here. One of the biggest themes of this movie is family, and how this family is kind of broken. And at the very end, they come back together. They're solid.
They only showed half the family. They didn't show. I guess they showed the kid with the baby, but he's not doing anything.
I know, but
it was like a very girl power movement hoorah. I didn't like it at all. I don't know. It didn't
I
fit
didn't get
with
that feel.
It didn't
get
fit with
the
anything
girl
else.
Hoorah! I got more of a
like we're stronger for this moment with the family. That's what I got.
yeah.
Like the Emily Blunt and the daughter here are the last 2 pretty much predominant characters in this film.
Right.
Really emphasize the sense of family, which this movie is all about. Outside the main like sound mechanic here.
What if the kid would have been the one to shoot instead of Emily Blunt because John Krasinski wanted him to be like the man of the house and protect his mother instead of his mother doing all the protecting?
I think it would have been a disservice because
Yeah.
The mom just gave birth 6 hours ago, maybe.
Yeah.
So she would still be in pain.
oh for sure, but
Yeah,
as a
she's also stepped on a nail.
Yeah.
She's done all this thing through the movie. Like, I'm
you-
not going to put anything that she
I think
can't do
your
at this
point about adrenaline and parenting and that sense of protectiveness would kick in.
But
We don't know for
But
sure.
I don't see them living through this
No.
situation.
And I don't think we're meant to decipher if they live or not. That's not the point.
There just could have been a better way to where like everything is left in your mind, but they didn't need to. I just don't like the way they showed stuff. I think Brent's example would have been perfect. where
Sure.
like they just show like them looking at each other and them looking like they're ready to go instead of having these cheesy ass like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
the deaf girl is like the brain and the mom is the brawn and shit. I didn't like it.
Or it cuts to black and you hear the things coming.
That would have worked too. Just
Yeah.
I
I think it would have been a disservice to suggest that they were going to die, because this movie is trying to emphasize the sense of family unity and strength, and it's not like trying to give a it's not trying to give off a scary death message as it is a more positive, uplifting at the end.
Oh, it is. But they're all dead. They're gonna be dead.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Like, we're not meant to think if they're dead or not. That's not the point. At the
I know
ending.
it's supposed to be like a hopeful moment, like, oh, they're gonna get out of this, you guys.
But with that said, I don't want a sequel.
Oh, no, we're not going to. This is like a standalone thing.
Okay.
I think so too. I would hope so, unless it makes a shit ton of money, and then there might be.
I wouldn't want a sequel of this family. I'd want a different.
A different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they don't go into at all. Like they show all the campfires at night, but that's it.
You know what? I like that. I
See, but that's-
didn't need another
yeah,
family story.
that was kind of the
I
one-
didn't want to see other shit. I didn't want to have, oh, we lost we lost all of them, but me. Can you take me into?
Would you want to get together as a community though? Like
No.
family here, family there. You can see their campfire, but you're still gonna like live on their own.
Nope. That's still saying that this is gonna get itself resolved, and it's not.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't have any raiders that want to like steal all of this produce that they're making on the farm.
No.
No.
I would see like that would happen too.
Yeah. I mean,
too
but at the
noisy.
same-
Way too noisy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But like you said, with the bonfire, so obviously there's other small communities out there. You don't know how big they are. You don't know how they're well off they are. But then they also show John Krasinski's character trying to speak with like different countries on different radio stations and
Yeah.
frequencies. They don't touch on that either. Besides that thing, and I like that. I like how they just leave it open ended.
What was his purpose of that?
Just trying to, because he was just sending SOS,
Yeah.
seeing if anyone else besides his 4 communities that right there
Yeah.
were alive still.
That just that never went back into play. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I like that though. I like how it's just open ended like that.
I got a very much Lord of the Rings torch lighting effect from those camps from Return of the King.
Roland needs help.
All right, so we're going to jump back into the spoiler-free section of the show, and that's going to be some reviews, some numbers, and our 5-star rating here. But we're going to kick it off with some opening numbers for this film. A Quiet Place opened on a Thursday to just short of $4.5 million, which is not bad considering the budget for this film is only $15.
Okay.
And that's very good for a low-budget scary film, which have a trend lately of being really good.
I can see this making about 25 opening weekend.
Yeah, and for
I
a
hope
directing as a directing standpoint, that looks good for John Krasinski here.
Yeah.
So based off this movie, I'd like to see more of what he could do.
Yeah, me too. His directing style in this movie was awesome.
Most of the budget for this film came from animation with the creatures.
I was kind of scared about his acting, but it was good.
I wasn't. He's a good actor.
I didn't even think once about The Office during this film.
No, there's other things that he's been
No,
in.
yeah, like he had, he had me so drawn in with his dad acting it. Yeah, I know, it was just it was great.
A lot of this acting was done through not words.
Oh, just signing, yeah.
Yeah, and just expressions in the face, which we know him from The Office can do great expressions.
He's a believable dad, you guys, just like Jim from The Office.
Yeah.
Beard Jim is what we call it.
Yeah, Beardy Jim.
So reviews are looking really good for this film. Right now, it's sitting at a Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like a 96%.
Holy fuck. Out
Yeah.
of how many reviews?
164.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a
Quiet
review.
Place?
Yeah, so it's cleaning up very well with reviewers, and despite some of our grievances with this film, overall, this is a great movie. Would you guys say?
Yeah.
Just an overall package.
Yep.
Metacritic right now is sitting at 82. There's some people who are not having their huge response like on the Rotten Tomatoes side, but generally, people are liking this film. That being said, we got to give our own 5-star rating on A Quiet Place. Who would like to kick it off?
I think I'm a fair kickoff. I am going to give this a solid 3.5. I did have a couple gripes with it. I think it's above average movie. However, I do have my parts that I am kind of maybe just more personal that I shouldn't hold against this movie. So I think a solid 3.5 is a fair rating for this movie.
Before I give my star rating, I'm trying to think really hard. What is the rewatchability with this movie for you guys?
See, and like I said, I still want to see this, but again, not till I'm at home and I can watch it in my dark room by myself.
Oh, I don't want to rewatch this in the movie theater, but absolutely, I want to rewatch this.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide that myself, and I think, like, despite what you guys might have said earlier, because sound is so important in this film, I mean, it's some of the best sound you'll hear is in the movie theater. And I still think you'll get the same experience with home with sound.
Yeah,
but just the amplification that a theater can do for sound,
Sure.
like it makes it that much more emphasized for this film.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my sound bar that I have at home works just fine.
Yeah.
For me. So yeah, that's not a problem for me.
Yeah, I think the mood, like Anthony said, the mood could still be set at home with this film.
Yep, I think
for
so, too.
sure. For me, though, I'm sitting at a 4. I really like this film. I like the concepts that are at play here. I like the family themes. I liked the experiments with sound. Animation was good. A lot of good things are happening here. I'll probably consider this more towards the end of the year because right now I'm setting a solid 4.
I don't think this is going to be in my top 10 at all.
Yeah,
I don't. I like Annihilation way better than this movie.
sure.
I'm all over the board on this. Like before the last 20 minutes, I was at a 4.
Yeah.
And then walking out of the theater, I was all the way down to like a 2.5.
Wow.
Like the last 20 minutes really upsets me with what direction they decided to take. Thinking back about it, there were a lot of good parts. I like the family dynamic. I like the directing style. I think I'm going to do a 3.5 because I'm in between a 3 and 3.5. I think right now the strengths outweigh the weaknesses. I'm going to do 3.5, even though the last 20 minutes are horrible.
It's so interesting because it's pretty much we're like flip flop of this on it, like how we were on Annihilation. We both kind of thought the last 20% was
Sure.
subpar or whatever.
That was
Yeah, that was me. I thought it was garbage.
No, yeah, I thought it was garbage too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I
But
loved it.
But we're flip flopping here because I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I gave this a 4. I absolutely love this movie. I actually thought about giving it a 4.5.
wow.
Yeah, the things it does so well with the sound and the absence of sound, and still making a scene scary, even though it's a mute scene. The CGI is fantastic for how low budget of a film it was.
Definitely.
Oh,
And
I'll
there's
agree
a
with that.
lot of CGI in it.
Yeah,
amazingly.
if the budget's only $15 million, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
Yep.
And I will say that I saw it with Kevin. His rating might change right out of the theater. He was at 2.5, and then he even went down to 2. But I'll take his first one at 2.5. He really wished that he liked this movie more, but there were a lot of problems with the plot and just things that happened that didn't need to happen that really bugged him.
This was, for me, this was 90 minutes of amazingness. I kind of agree with Jake with the last, that part, but that's so minor to me. I would agree that I would have preferred it if it had just been, a more of a abrupt ending.
Yeah.
What we had gotten.
It's a directional choice, though. That's a plot or a storyline they chose to take.
I'm a big fan of schlocky monster movies, and this is just like a 2018 version of that with a well done coat of paint on it.
I think this is the most realistic take on a post-apocalyptic thing, because obviously there's the the overall overlying threat of everything, but every other movie typically they're always dealing with what's going on around them and never dealing with the relationships between each other. Not really.
Have you seen The Road?
Yeah. Okay. So that's one where that fits in the same one as this.
That's like a 4.5 out of 5 for me. That movie
Yeah.
is pretty much perfect.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that relates to this. There's so much more with the relationships, but there's still the shitty outside world that's going on.
Yeah. And
And
that's where post-apocalyptic movies get it right, to where oh, okay, you're stripped of all of your comforts.
Yeah.
Where do you go from here? How do you struggle? How do you maintain your sanity? It's just
Yeah.
I don't know, that I like this genre
Yeah.
of film, and you can go in a lot of different ways, and I do like the way that A Quiet Place cemented itself in that genre, for sure.
So do I. Agree.
All right, that being said, let's jump into the final portion of our show, and that is going to be trivia with Brent. Brent, what do you got in store for us tonight?
Got 10 questions for you, fellas.
About what?
Random facts.
Oh Jesus.
Random movie trivia. Question number 1. In 2010's Piranha 3D, which actor made a guest appearance? Was it A. Robert De
Christopher
Niro?
Can you do it without the voice?
Robert De Niro. B. Richard Dreyfuss.
That one.
C. Samuel L. Jackson. Not my plane. Or D. None of the above.
I've seen this movie. It's Richard Dreyfuss. He does a parody of Jaws, and it's awful.
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss. Final answer.
Dreyfuss.
Correct?
Correct.
1 for 1, folks.
With musical guest Ween.
Easy peasy. Who was the killer in the original Friday the 13th movie?
Jason's mom.
Final answer.
That's it.
Nice job. 2 for
Ding,
2 for
ding.
folks.
Pinhead is a pincushion. Alien, Cenobite.
That one.
Cenobite?
I think so. I've never seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's a Cenobite.
Correct.
It's not an alien.
Who wrote 1981 film An American Werewolf in London?
Max Landis. Wrote it? No, not John Landis. Duh. John Landis. Sorry, final answer.
Correct.
I just call this the Jake trivia because Jake's got the answers.
Who interviewed Brad Pitt's Louise in Interview with the Vampire?
Multiple choice, please.
Tom Cruise, Anne Rice, Christian Slater, or none of the above?
And Slater.
Tom Cruise is
You
in
just
the movie.
mixed two answers. Tom Cruise, Anne Rice, Christian Slater.
I've never seen Interview with the Vampire, so I don't know who actually interviewed the vampire.
Which is why I would say Christian Slater.
I don't even know if he was in the movie. I have no idea. You guys guess.
Anthony?
I said Christian Slater, but
All right, Christian Slater.
Correct.
Nice.
Way to go, bud.
So we're at 5 for 5 now? Or 4 for 4?
4.
4 for 4.
Where did Amanda Young find the key to unlock the reverse bear trap jigsaw?
The reverse bear.
Let's hear the...
In Saw. Oh, multiple choice?
Yeah.
In a guy. In the guy's gut.
In her eye?
ooh.
In the stomach of a sedated cellmate,
That one.
Jill unlocked it for her.
No, B. She had to dig into some guy's guts.
Sure, that's not the one that she unlocked.
Was it the one with the
Yeah,
eye,
she
too?
had a bear trap on her
No,
head.
no, the last one where the gal came in and unlocked it for her.
I'm pretty sure in Saw she had a bear trap on her head, and then there was another guy in there, and she had to like cut him open into his guts, grab a key, and she got it right in time, and then it went off.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the guy's guts.
All right, let's go with the guy's gut.
In the stomach of a sedated cellmate.
Yep.
Correct.
Nice.
Okay.
We got it. Mm-hmm. 5 for 5.
It was the main girl who John had to come in unlock it for because she wouldn't have gotten it in time.
How many Saw movies have you guys seen?
All of them.
2.
2.
I just went and saw the recent one in theaters.
Next question.
Ju-on was the inspiration for what American horror film?
Oh,
J-U-O-N.
The Ring or The Grudge?
Nope, The Grudge.
Okay.
Yep, because this is the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
it's
the ring.
positive.
The Ring is Ringu.
The
So
Ring,
yeah, it's The Grudge.
Shutter, The Unborn, or none of the above?
None of the above.
I'm okay with that.
Yep, I knew it.
Nice.
It's Grudge.
We're 6 for 6, folks.
Screw that movie.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ben Willis knew what they did last summer. What did the 4 stars do? Hit and killed a man? Kidnapped someone? Started a fire and killed a girl?
They hit,
Hit
and killed a man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Was this like scary movie genre?
I don't know.
It must be. They all have.
He's a
been.
trivia master, folks.
I don't know.
I'm the goddamn master. Don't question me.
This is the first thing popped up on my BuzzFeed.
Which movie was not based on a Stephen King book? The Dead Zone. Maximum Overdrive. Saw.
Saw.
Yeah.
Children
Saw.
of the
So
Corn.
easy.
That's all.
Saw.
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 Correct.
Saw.
Saw.
7?
Saw.
7 for 7.
Psycho is loosely inspired by which real-life serial killer? Charles Manson, Ed Gein, or Ted Bundy?
It's not Ted Bundy.
I want to say Ed Gein because he had a fascination with his mother.
Yep.
I think.
I think that was it.
Final answer.
Correct.
Nice. 8 for
8
8. We're almost for a perfect trivia here, folks.
What killer animal was 2007's Rogue about? Was it a bear? Was it a snake?
No sound effects needed.
But much appreciated.
Was it a crocodile or a shark?
I think it's a bear.
A rogue?
I've never heard of Rogue, so you can try to answer this, Anthony.
You say bear?
I think so.
This is for a perfect trivia.
I know.
I've no.
Well, that's not fair. You guys have no idea.
Yeah.
You were very passionate about bear, and it's the only
I
answer
think
we
bear,
have.
I think bear sticks out.
Bear it is.
Ah, it's crocodile.
Oh, damn.
Those rogue crocodiles,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
Trouble.
Crikey.
Steve Irwin, rest in peace.
All right. How many installments of Friday the 13th are there? Is
Jake?
it
Including,
9,
including the reboot?
10, 12, or 13?
Including the reboot, there are 11. So I'm guessing 10. Okay. I mean, there's Jason X, which concludes like the main formula. But then there is Friday the 13th, which is the reboot, which is number 11. So since that's not an answer, I'm going to say 10.
Incorrect. There are 12.
How are there 12? What's the other one? Oh, Freddy versus Jason.
Dun, dun, dun.
Damn.
Damn.
Was that 10? That was 9.
So we got 8 out of 10.
You got 8 out of 10?
Let's keep going.
Hey, that's a B.
Which horror legend survives in Freddy vs. Jason?
For extra credit.
Is it Freddy, Jason, both, or neither?
Both.
Both.
Da-da-da-da.
Freddy gets decapitated, but then he winks at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. Correct.
All right.
What was...
No,
what-
we're good.
What was Leatherface's choice of weapon? Was it a knife? Shing. Was it an axe? Thud. Was it a chainsaw?
Well, now you start doing. Now you start like you're getting invested in the trivia.
Or,
Yeah, 12 questions in, he's getting into it.
or a bat?
What's the sound effect for a bat? I think it's a...
Is correct.
So clearly that was a scary or a monster trivia, is what I think Brent failed to mention there.
Let's keep on going. How many are
No,
there?
let's not. There's 30.
31.
Yeah, we're not gonna do.
Oh, because it's Halloween. Ooh.
Oh my god.
Let's at least do 15.
That being
We
said,
got
that's
2
been-
more.
That being said, this has been episode 36 of Super Media All Stars. You can find us on all kinds of social media. The first one being Facebook at Super Media All Stars. You can find us on Twitter at SmashPod. You can find us on Instagram at Super Media All Stars.
You can find me on Instagram at SteelbookObsessed. And do you want to give out our Letterboxd as well?
Yeah, go for it.
My Letterboxd is Steelbook. You can hear all of my reviews before they go on air.
Yep, mine is Cy John. I'm slowly getting some movies out there, mostly Marvel right now because that's what I've been rewatching. But I'll get some more out there eventually. So check out our reviews there. As far as podcasts go, you can listen to us on Apple services, Apple podcast services. You can check us out on Google Play. You listen to us on internet radio as far as tune in. And as always, check out all our content on YouTube. We'll be posting some unboxing videos and other stuff this week. It's got some really good stuff coming there. So check that out as well.
Yeah, you got an Infinity Gauntlet, John.
I did. Sweet unboxing. It's a sweet, pretty much a toy, but it's pretty cool.
It's shiny. It's
in preparation for the Infinity
Oh, that's
War movie
awesome.
coming out. So be looking forward to that. That being said, this is episode 37. Guys, thank you for joining me. Audience, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you. Bye. Okay, we gotta be quiet. It's a quiet place.
Game over, man. Game over.
I am out of here.